Welcome back for part 2. We're working with the eyelashes. Oh. Roughly where I want them to be. And using the warp tool. I'm going to swap them over to multiply. Now if I duplicate that, put them over here, Control T to swap them over. Okay. Now I'm just going to come back to this one because swapping back over to a normal brush. I don't want it going over the hair. Now I'm just going to okay, so that's just given her a little bit more definition. While I'm still working on the eyes, I just want to make Jess's eyes pop a little more, so I'm just going into I'm going to put a new layer on and going into my brush, and I'm just going to pick up, I just want to blue her eyes up just a little bit. So I'm going to pick a blue that sort of matches in with her tones, just with a nice soft brush, and I'm just going to change that to colorize. Then I can come in and erase where I don't want it. So I don't actually want it on the whites of the eyes, and I don't want it on the pupil there. And of course it's set to color, and then I'm just going to drop it down because I don't want it to be totally unrealistic. Jess's eyes quite often are really blue, but because everything was so soft and white, they sort of went a little bit on the grey side. So I'm just going to blue them up. Now what I want to do is add another curves layer, and I'm going to make it quite bright and invert that, then come along with the white brush, and I'm just going to pop the highlights in just around the bottom of the eyes and that catch light. Now if you zoom out, and I find if I drop the opacity all the way down and then slowly increase it, until it looks natural. Sometimes if you have it all the way at 100%, it just looks a little bit zombie eyes. So I can now come along and I can grab all of that and I can put that in a folder and call that eyes. Okay, so what I want to do just for a little bit of fun is I want to pop some sparkle and bling in, and all I did for that was I got some sparkle brushes. Okay, so I grabbed a little sparkly brush and I did some bling where you have highlights, so on her, and just in white, maybe not quite so big. just added a little bit of bling. You could change that to soft light, but it tends to disappear. Hard light's probably a bit too much. I'm actually just going to leave it at normal, and I'm just going to drop the opacity just a touch so that they're a little bit see-through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge all of this onto its own layer. So that's Control Alt Shift and E, or Control Option Shift and E if you're on a Mac. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this into alien skin. Now you don't have to do this. This is just something that I really like to do. I already know that I really love the cyan in this. It just tended to sort of bring everything together. So that's the before, and that's with the cyan. It does make her face a little bit yellow, but I'm quite happy to come back and fix that. So I'm just going to hit apply, and it will put that into Photoshop. And I'm just going to change my brush over to normal while I think of it. Okay, so like I said, I love all of this, but her skin is a little on the yellow side, so I'm just going to put in a Hue Saturation. Now I could just grab the little scrubby finger and desaturate just her skin tones a little bit, which has pulled out the yellows, but I also want to come in and pulled out the reds, but I want to pull out the yellows as well. But I don't want to desaturate anything else, so it's just those two. If I had pulled desaturation down on everything, you would have lost the blues, the reds, and what little pink there is in here, which you could do if you wish to, but I just wanted to drop the reds a little bit. Now I could come in with my brush and pop those reds back into her lips, and even if I go just 10%, just and pop her blush in just a little bit more. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to create sort of a white high key vignette. So I'm going to go to solid color, and I'm just going to put in white. Now with a brush on the layer mask, what I'm going to do, starting roughly at about 10%, is I'm going to work my way through and just start revealing my image, and just going over and over again. So I've got my opacity at 10%. I'm just going to bump it up to 50% here, just so that you can sort of see where I'm coming from. And I don't want everything in the image. I just sort of want the vignette on the sides. Just soften it off a little bit. Now if I go to 100%, just in that middle area, and you can bounce backwards and forwards between the black and the white. So generally, I mean, this sort of white vignette went out probably with the 80s, but it really works on this piece just to bring that sort of high key vignette into the image. From here, I'm going to have a little play with adding some snow, and then we'll pretty much wrap up the image. Just before I get into the snow, I'm just going to put a gradient map just to add a bit more blue into the image, and to tone out some of those yellows a little bit. It's quite strong, as you can see, so if we just set that to soft light and even bring that down, and what that's doing is putting blue into the shadows. It's dropping out whatever yellows that we sort of had left. It really is leaving a lovely soft desaturated look to the image, but there's still that pop in the eyes and with the lips as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to come along and I'm going to do another new layer. So I'm going to Control Shift N, and just set it to normal. I'm just going to delete the mask. So what I'm going to do is come to noise, and I'm going to add, come to render and add clouds. Yes, just convert that to a smart object. Now what I want to do is I want to now go and add a levels to that. So if I just hit Control or Command L, I can then come through and bring my levels all the way down so that you have this random patchiness that looks a little bit like snow. So I'm going to then duplicate that twice. I'm going to give this one a little bit of a motion blur. Just on a diagonal, probably not quite so much, just a little bit of a blur. Now if we set this to screen and set this one to screen, it's starting to give the look of snow that we've got there. Now if I come back up to the top one, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to decrease my size. I'm make this a little larger. And I'm going to add even more blur. And then I'm going to set that to screen as well. So you start to get that look of the snow that you've got through there. If you don't like where it has hit on a particular area, you can come in and you can put a mask over it. So this one's got this little sort of smudge there, so I'm just going to put it, go into a mask. Doesn't want to decrease the size, so I'm just going to come in and remove. I don't really like that one there, which is on both of those, so I'm just going to get rid of that there. But then I need to come down to this one and get rid of it there too. Quite happy with that one there. This one there doesn't bother me. If you want to add more snow, you can keep adding to it. If you go to transform, you can actually flip it horizontal so that you end up with snow in other areas, not necessarily just in the one. And then of course you can move it around if you wish to, so that you can sort of have a few little different areas where you have the snow happening, which can be quite nice as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much it on this image. So that's where we are. This is where we got to. I probably had my gradient map a little bit stronger, which I can come back and I could make that a little bit stronger again. So yeah, so this is the finished image. I hope you enjoyed watching this walkthrough, and I hope you got some great ideas from it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.